Hello and welcome to my light flickering. Um, we will now begin a Sudoku. I just finished a video talking about how electrons are not waves. This one guy gets it completely wrong and I'm sad that he gets it wrong and whatever, let's begin. But I mean, it's textbook stuff. You can't really get it right until you break from textbook and do personal analysis of the junk that you're being fed. So, I mean, good that he's interested in stuff, bad that he doesn't know how to actually get it right. But I mean, it's not like there's a choice. There's no options here. It's just whatever. You get what you get, and if you don't end up doing personal analysis into things, you'll never figure it out. You'll just be stumped and you'll try to explain it, and then you'll be all like, whatever, and classic amount of time. What did I just do? I put in the wrong button. I still have to do these. Why did I think I was going to be done? I wasn't even done at the bottom. Oh wait, I still have to do this on regular. Okay, so... this is interesting. So in order for this to happen, it has to be down here with the 1. But then in order for that to happen, this has to be up here. The 1. And then this has to be over here. There you go. 2 would end up... I don't know. It's somewhere. We know it's here, so that's something. Those 2 block off those 2, and we only know so much about the rest of it, so we can't figure out the rest. Whatever, moving on to a different number. How about 3? Well, that's a 3. The number 3. There's a 3. Which doesn't tell us a lot. And then we have this one, which has to be a 3 or that one. But then that means the other 3 could be somewhere else, which has to be like here or there and stuff. And then you have this one, which is known. So then you have this, which is the remainder, I guess, or something. Let's look at 4 for a second. Yeah, 4 is just as innocuous, except for it's here, so that's actually helpful because that gives us this, and then the last one is here. That's easy to do. And then that changes fairly nothing about the 3, so we move on, and they have 5 here. 5 has to be somewhere, so... we assume if it's going to be in the top, it has to be top here, because there are no other top spots for it to be. And then in the bottom, it could be in all of these spaces. So we don't know. But it can't be here and it can't be there, so it has to be here. That's an interesting way to look at it. Which means the other one has to be here. Cool. And this one's just up here. That's simple. And that's there. Then we have 6. Which is here. And then there. And then there. and there, and there. There you go. 7. Well, we have to have a 7 here, so that would force the 7 to be here and there. And there. That's an 8. Still moving in 7s, we'll do this. Consider these positions, and it's there. Forcing this one here. Last 7 is here. That's a 2. 2, 2. Finally 2. Considering where the 3s are, three, 3, 3, and then 8 is 8, 8, and 8, and 9, 9, 9. Not bad. And then this, where we start with 7, it gives us a 6. The 3939 is interesting. Doesn't help us though. And then we move on to something else because we have to. There's the only 4 in the block, so that's helpful. Slightly. Not really, but slightly. The virtue of 4. And then we have no other similar phenomenon. This 99999 means 5958, 59. Eventually all 3 of those will take up those free spaces, so therefore 5, 9, and 8 cannot be anywhere else. What the... Yeah, that. Yeah, so that's what happens. And because 1, 3 exists, it cannot. Also, this 5 is not a 5. So we have that understanding of that block very well down. Nice. And then similarly, we have the 2, 3, 5. They have to be there, forcing this 3 to not be there. That's a 9. Forcing this 3 to not be there as well, because it's over on the other side, as well as the 5. So that's an 8. This is a 7. I can say that definitively. This is also not a 5 or a 2. It has to be a 1. Because of what was blocking it in the other row that we already know it's there. We don't need to know which position it's in. We just need to know that it blocks it in that row. And therefore, question mark, blank, statement, correct, analysis. Moving on. What do we got? Got a bunch of things doing random junk, but here's a 9, so that's helpful. Then we have a 5 over here. Easily found. Looking at all the numbers in sequence, we can see a 2, 3, 5. That's interesting. And the 3, 3 is 7. If 3 was taken, then 7 would be, and if not, otherwise, and 6 is the only 6 in the row. So that's a clear answer. Also 6, only 6 in the row, leaving the 4 to be taken by there. And then similar, the 5 is here, 4 is there. Other things are in contrast, so we can't say. Elsewise, we have nothing much. 8 is alternate, 9 alternate. 6 in the column, so yes. And then other things include the 5, obviously in the block, right? Yeah, it's the only 5 in the block. Other things, no. Okay, cool. 8 in the only row. Was it row? Yeah, row. And then blah, 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 6 something something. Don't look down there. Look higher up. We see 5 be alternate. 2 and 9. 7, 3, 2. 1 is up here, unless 1 is up there. Interesting. 1 and then 1. Also, what is this thing I can do about all of this? 7 is definitely here, there, specifically. So that's something. And then it's also down here, but then we have to have 1 7 on this side, forcing all the other 7s to be false that in that column. Because they must be in that block, and we cannot block them, winky face. Then we have less noise. I always like to get rid of the noise. And then we have 3, 9, and 7 as a trinity, which is interesting. Little like two-state thing that happens. I don't know about it. And then we have trinity here. We got all sorts of stuff happening over there, and there's this here. Yeah. If 9696 but 1, it could be that, or it could be the 6161 but 9. And we don't know which state that is in, but we know it's one of those two states, and one of the two of those two possible states. So a total of 4 positions? I don't like that. I need to clean it up a little bit. Here's a 2, however. We just know that's a 2. It's only a 2 in the block, and other reasons. That's just so easy to look at and think about in those words, in that order. If 6 is the only one in that spot, we can think of that. Also, we have 7. 7 is nice. That's found. Easily found. Similar, we have all these other alternates. Not helpful. But 9, 9, and 3, 3, 3. If 3, then another 3, and 3, and 4. 4, but also 4. 7, but also 4. But also not 4, because 4 is taken. Oh, what's my next insight? Please tell me. I have 18% battery. That's great. 5 across. No, yes, also. 2, none of these things feel conclusive. I feel like I'm going to have to do a binary, and I hate that. But then I notice in the block 8, and that reduces some noise by just a little bit. And I like that. I still think that's a good thing. 4 and something, but then, oh, that makes this a 3. That just forces numbers out of the woodwork when we get 8. So that's even more information. Forces the other 8. Why did I say 8? 9. 1, 3. 1. 8. Lovely cascade going on here. Blah, blah, blah. What else do we have to work with? 7, something, something, something. I've only found discovery, so that's a thing. If we have 7, 1, 7, 1 pair, this is not a 7, so that helps. Forcing 7 to be in the middle And if 7 is in the middle, 7 is not on the bottom. So that's another bit of noise reduction. And then if we consider this to be a 6969 pair, because maybe we do, but we can't think in those terms, but we can say 1 in the block. That's obvious. So that doesn't help us anywhere else, but that's something. And then we say there's a 3, which reduces 7, cascade, 8, 6, 2, 9, 3. Because all I've been doing is discoveries, we can only find the true answer. We can't be faulty here. We won't, like, fail unless I mistype. So we're just trying to figure out just get all the answers typed in. It's already like a solved puzzle. Everything linking from the one to the next. Excellent. Next. And again, we see... Okay, this one doesn't have a direct, like, first number. So that's like just nothing else and only that in the block. So that's something to work with. But then we have like the number 5. That's an individual in that block. There are no other places 5 can be. 3 is similar in that regard. Force is 9. Other things looking at... These are definite correct numbers. There is no other options. 8484, interesting. Okay. 6 also could, and 1, and everything in this block. This block is too noisy. Can we reduce? I don't know. And then we have every variation of this, but if we do 6969, 6363, that's too many options of 6. So we could definitely hope to reduce that, but I don't think we can actually. Like everything's a 4 down here. Who cares? It's too much faulty information. 5, however, is limited. If we think of the alternatives of 5, then we go vertical. Then we only have 5 in this block. Then the other 5s are in other blocks, which then corresponds with this scenario over here. And if 5 has to be in this block, that's something. But it doesn't tell us anything, really. What to do? Let's scroll out and just look at maybe 6. If 6 is in this row, for example, in this block, and it can't be anywhere else in the block, then it cannot be up here, for example, as well. We've already explained that rule. So that's some noise gone. Then if we look at other things within that, we see 6 can only be here, there, or along here, or along that. And of the ones that could be in both places, this one could be in all 3 places, but so can this. I'm just being silly now. And nothing is concrete except for there's a 1 up here. That's nice. So in that block, that's the only 1 positions, meaning similar rules, we can't have a 1 anywhere else in that row. So therefore, the 1 is here or there. Nice. We must consider those ones as being placed there. So the only alternative is either 6 or 9. And then 3, for example, must be here. So therefore 3 cannot be on the top or the bottom. They must be in the middle because they can't be anywhere else in the row. They have to be here specifically. So then if we think of where 3 can be and elsewhere, blah, 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 and my mind goes exploding. But at least we have less noise. I like less noise. If I were to think of 6 and the 5-6 pair forces this to not be a 6 because 5-6 is already taking up those, and this is also not a 6. But we already know that means this is a 3, this is a 9, this is a 1, this is a 6. There is no alternative. So that's nice for us. Then we have this nice little trinity of those 3 numbers, which goes 4, 8, 4, 8, 7. But because of 4, 8, and 4, 8, 7 in between these 3 positions, there cannot be the 4, 8 here. So that's removed. And then 7 is also above. So that's interesting. They must be in that block. But that's also whatever we found a 2 that just randomly popped up and I didn't see it until now. So that's great. Which forces this 2 in that block because of that. Only place it could be. And then cascade, leading to more cascade elsewhere, and so on. I love a good cascade. It is very delicious. And then if I were to think in remainders and just analysis, then 5 in the block, no. 7, no. 8, 9, 2, 1, no. This, no. 3 vertical, no. No. Dum-dum-dum. What's the next thing I can say definitively that I can see? I don't know. We're on good pace. What? Well, hold on. There must be some reduction that can happen. I'm not noticing. Blah, blah, blah. 4, 2. Interesting. 4, 2, 4, 7. 4, 2, 4, 7. There must be something about that. 3 and 6. And no. Something, something, something. Like these already just fit. It's just either 9 or 2, and once we figure out the one, we figure out the other. 1, 3, if this is a 1, 3 pair, then that limits. If it's an 8, 9 pair, that limits, and so on and so forth. We consider where 2 can go and everything else, and it all looks weird. But if 8 was considered, it could go in all sorts of places. But only in that row in this block. And elsewhere in the other places that 8 can go. And 9 is in so many places that it's actually disorienting. But if we think of it has to be in, but also someone has to take this far side, and similar for other something, and I'm trying to make something make sense in my brain, but nothing's working. Everything is whatever. 6 is on this side specifically, and the parallel side. And then 5 is here. We're there at 5, 2, 5, 2. But you can't have 9, you can't have 9, 2, 9, 2, 3, 9, 2, 3. Hold on. That's interesting. 9, 2, 9, 2, 3, 9, 2. All of those take all three of those numbers, so therefore this is not a 9, for example. And that's not a 2. Ah, there you go. So we end up with 8, and that's 6. These are not a binary, but a deduction. And then we just cascade a little bit, leading to other numbers found. More cascading. 4, 3, 4. At this point, are we just solved and we're just typing it out? I think we are. Which is kind of why I do the easy mode, so I get used to typing it out. And the entire puzzle took 25 minutes, 26, 27 minutes. Not bad. My record is still 20 minutes, so it's not my record, but that was kind of good. Absolutely no binary. I love when I don't binary. I've been trying to figure out more ways of reducing, more ways of like make sure that I can figure out what actually would be there. But yeah, 27 minutes, not bad, not bad. For the whole thing, I consider 10 minutes and 15 seconds for hard to be kind of good. What did I get for medium? 10 minutes? It's okay. And this felt a little bit slow, so it could have been faster, but not by much. Whatever. That's it. Like, if I were to try to, let's just refresh and say about things again. If we look at just these three numbers, we can remove those numbers from this option here. So it cannot be 4, 7, or 8. This one can't be 7, 8. So we end up with similar numbers as we already did. And similarly, again, if 8 is already here somewhere in this row, we can't have 8 here. And if 4 is already in here, because it's one of the triple, we can't have 4 here. And then we have this, which is like it's kind of duality, and we can't fully solve it. So that's interesting. We have 4 states, which is neat, and whatever else. And I don't want to solve it again. But, I mean, I'm just saying about how it works with the eliminations. That if you have 1 here, it cannot be 1 up here. But we already know that. There's no other positions that 1 could be. But because of 6, removing the 6 from these is like, that's a lot of noise. Gone. We don't need that. And therefore we are better equipped to understand what is happening. Oh, also the 1 cannot be here. I was right to look at that. So there you go. And then we have less noise there. And that forces nothing. But anyhow, hope this was fun. I'm not doing the puzzle again to see how just more fast I can do it with all the information already about how things operate, because I feel like that just doesn't, in the spirit of the thing, like how fast can I really solve it? Like, hindsight is bullshit and whatever. Um, there was something about this can't be a 7 because it can't be anywhere in the, so this is not a 7. So that's one thing. Also, because this is already taken up here. Also, the 4 is cannot. So that's something. Also, this is a 5 anyway. Just forget about anything else I said a few seconds ago. And then we have, like, what else do we have? Oh yeah, this is a 3. Those are true numbers, which led to this 9. And we have whatever else we want to do. The 1, if considered, to impair, I can't just work off that. I gotta do the proper process. So yeah, I could solve it again. Why not? Why not? All right. So let me think. Or something, and the 6 and the 4, 3 and the 1. With the 1, 2, 6, 3. If 3, 6, and 2, then it can't be 3, 6. 4, 8, similar. 3, I think. I feel like that's a different discovery. Is 2 already taken? Between the 2, 6 and the 2, 3, we can't have another 2, so that eliminate. Yeah, that's right. Or I hope. I think it's right. It's just crazy to have a different way of discovery for a different attempt at the puzzle at that. So I already done the thing. It's kind of weird. Where did I, where would I do next? What am I doing? Like, this is nutty. I was just here. What is next? Like, 2, 3, but this could only be a 2. This is the only place a 3 goes besides here. But it's free in the bottom at least. For sure. And then 2 has to go somewhere. God, why does it feel like... How can I get stuck on the second pass? What can I eliminate? What can I do? Three and then the ones, and then the... If 3, definitely the not 3? Is that the answer, I think? What could that be? Oh.